Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Game Master and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Tomb Raider's Legends, which is the second game in the, Tomb Raider's Legends trilogy. And to be honest, this is the most different compared to Tomb Raider Anniversary and Tomb Raider Underworld. So let's get into the differences and whether or not I like this game. While Legends isn't completely devoid of parkour and puzzles, it tones it way down in favor of action scenes and gunfights, and also has some of the most unusual stage settings in these Tomb Raider games. One setting happening to be in downtown Tokyo, for example, and the other in an English tourist trap for King Arthur. Also, kind of tying up my review between recent moves and another game getting in the way of me playing this. It took me about a month or two to actually finish what is an 8-hour game, so my gameplay segments for this were broken up. Just thought I should tell you because this does sway my opinion a bit when you play games like that. It was still a fun experience overall. The story starts off with Laura having a flashback to the plane crash that led to the incident of her mother disappearing. While exploring a tomb in Bolivia, she discovers some fragments in a device very similar to the kind that caused her mother to get spirited away all these years ago. Throw in some other flashbacks to a good friend who got killed on an archaeological dig, who actually managed to survive and now has some sort of demonic superpowers, and is now out to kill Laura, and Laura really does have her hands full in this. This is probably one of the most story-intensive out of the Tomb Raider games, and it's obvious they are trying to set off Laura to be a female James Bond. Hell, even the intro scenes look like it's something out of a James Bond. Because of that, Laura's character is completely 180 from what she was in Anniversary. In Anniversary, she was afraid to kill someone that was in her way to stop someone from unleashing Armageddon. While the guy was an idiot and there probably was another way around the problem, it's hard to fault Laura too much for killing him. Still, the game's ending made a point to make sure that she felt guilty over it. Here, since this is James Bond Laura, listen to this dialogue.
And they're coming down after you.
Well, this is a tomb. I'll make them feel at home.
Damn, what a character change. She now pretty much bordering on a psychopath with that line. Don't wonder why we never ever see her with a boyfriend. Imagine any guy trying to break up with her. Now, Laura, you're a good-looking woman. You got a fine body, an amazing rack. But I'll have to be honest, exploring ancient tombs, killing a whole bunch of super soldiers, just isn't my idea of a fun weekend. I think it's better if we start seeing other people.
Well, this is a tomb. Make them feel at home.
I won't deny it's cheesy camp, and having Laura talk to some colleagues over the phone during the gameplay does make the game more enjoyable.
Much better.
You know, you scare me.
You may want to close your eyes then.
Story-wise, I found it to be somewhat more enjoyable, but since I played Underworld, I kind of know how the cliffhanger ending kind of plays out, and that does ruin it a little bit for me, I guess. Like I said in my intro, what made me like Tomb Raider Underworld and got me a bit too frustrated at times with Tomb Raider Anniversary is toned down here, and toned down way too much. Don't get me wrong, there are still puzzles and plenty of Prince of Persia parkour, climbing, and platforming. But it's been toned down to the extreme. The puzzles are child's play compared to the ones found in Anniversary, and even more simple than the ones in Underworld. On the plus side, I didn't find myself yelling in frustration as I finally broke down and had to use my phone to search for tips on this one too often. That said, I managed to blaze through this game with no resistance, and I found myself enjoying it less because of this. As far as the gunplay fights, they are kind of enjoyable, but on standard difficulty, they're not too hard. Enemies drop plenty of health packs, so there's rarely a worry that I would get myself killed, other than an occasional grenade that managed to slip under the radar. So overall, the gameplay is kind of simple and way too easy. Even Excalibur, which you get on the last stage, more towards the final boss, isn't as cool as Thor's hammer and is really only used to fight the last bad guy. Overall, when it comes to the gameplay, is Legends bad? No, but it's a bit too streamlined and lacking compared to the other two games in the Legends trilogy. The game is over a decade old, and it shows as some of the character designs really do look PS2 era and some environments are a bit too sparse. But overall, they get the job done and the frame rate stays smooth. Outside of a few bugs, the game's graphics really do hold up over all these years, in my personal opinion. The sound and music are once again pretty decent and capture the atmosphere that is needed for these Tomb Raider games. The voice acting is top notch once again, and I have no complaints about how Laura and her crew sound.
Looks like a few things in there won't be getting the juice they need.
The heater must be one of them.
So now that I've played through all of the Tomb Raider's Legends trilogy, what do I think about it? I think Tomb Raider Underworld is indeed the best game out of the three, if you ask me. It's got perfect when it comes to action, when it comes to some of these action scenes fighting enemies, but it also has some really outstanding puzzles with some pretty good parkour elements. There are times where the puzzles get a bit too complicated and it gets a little bit too long in the tooth, but for the most part I enjoyed it and it was an overall great experience. Anniversary got too long in the tooth. I was ready to be done with it way before the finish line. 3/4 of the way through, I was ready to be done with it, and I didn't like having to slog my way through the final stages. Granted, the game crashing on me and making me restart was partially responsible for it, but I still was ready to be done with that. Tomb Raider Legends here, it falls in the middle with me. I don't think paying about $8, which is what I think it is on Steam, is a bad price for it, to be honest. If you don't mind that it's an older game, it's not going to look as good as modern day. But it's still pretty fun. It was a bit too easy, though. If Anniversary was too extreme on the hard as heck, frustrating, and ready to be over, Legends was too simple, and I really thought it could use a stage or two more, something to actually pad it out. So, overall, it was a little bit on the weak side, especially when it comes to the puzzles and parkour. Would I recommend the game? Yeah, I still recommend it. I recommend it over Anniversary, but not as much as Underworld. Which I guess when you consider how video games always evolve and improve when they're good, that is to be expected. Anyways, this is Tommy the Game Master thanking you for listening to this and watching this video. If you have any comments about this, feel free to leave them down below.